kama idea zako zote. Moving from that to actualizing it and getting it to a place where it's competitive and you're able to leave a legacy behind. So that is all we have for you today. But before I even introduce the guest that I have for you, we have a question for you. And the question we're asking you today is, what's the wildest business idea you've ever had? What is the wildest business idea that you've ever had? Would you still launch it? Yeah? And I'd like for you to just take some time as you watch the show to just see if you would still launch it or not. We have an amazing audience as well in studio. But let me introduce to you three brilliant minds that they understand the world of business inside out. Awa basi ukiweka pamoja hivi unajua ni mlipuko wa ideas na pia kuweza kugenerate hizo ideas into something beneficial for you. And starting from my immediate left, we have a senior finance and business analyst, Charity Kirima. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. Right next to Charity, we have a growth strategist, Stan Agacho. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me.
And right next to Stan, we have finance and money coach, Ruguru Sijenyi.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so there's a high you give me.
Time.
There you have it. There you have it. Karibuni sana. It's lovely to have you. And before I indulge the three of you, I'd like to just hear from our audience, and I like that there's a mix of very young, what anyway, young, kweli. We are dealing with Gen Zs today, and wamesema wako na businesses, and based on the question of the day that we have today, we'll start and find out if you have a business currently running, if you have an idea that you want to launch, what is it? Is it weird? Is it crazy? Do you think it's achievable or not? And we're going to start with the gentleman on the furthest end.
Thank you for having me.
Karibu sana.
I'm called Okaka Duncan. I have a business that I run. So I'm an entrepreneur. And I also am a business coach, right? So as you said, because the business idea comes from what problem do you want to address, not how much do you want to get. So my business is I have a tourism company, and reason was I wanted to address the challenge that the community where I was living actually they are facing through. Because people don't take time to invest in themselves, because we need also to invest in ourselves through connecting to the natures. But now when that comes in the mind, people start thinking about like how much do I need to spend, even without understanding you just need little of money. Even you don't need money, we can just have a walk to Karura Forest and we enjoy the nature. And also through the nature we connect and have more ideas that come on the board as business people that we need to dive into more.
Great.
So that's what is it about, because we started small. Though there is competition from the highest business that on the peak, but also we are doing nicely through our ecosystem where we exist.
Fantastic. How long has the business been running for?
7 years.
7 years. Good job. Yeah. We can pass on the mic. The gentleman at the back, right behind you. It is that day. I can see you. Hello.
Hello.
Kindly tell us your name and the business that you run or the idea that you have.
My name is Godfrey, and my business is probably photography. So I run events, personal shoots, and basically, before starting the photography, I was impromptu to telling stories. Like through photos, I can tell different type of stories. Like when I go for a walk in a nature walk, like in a forest, I can capture moments like the birds and the birds, the way they stay and the nature in them. Can truly, when you show someone, can tell like this something that is worth it.
That takes a lot of patience, doesn't it? To just capture that perfect moment of a bird that is not even I pose you. It's just living its life. That's beautiful. How long have you been doing it?
It's 1 year.
1 year now. Congratulations. And we have one other contribution before I indulge my guests.
Hi, good morning, Kenyans.
Good morning to you.
So I run a beauty
beauty spa.
A beauty spa. So mani, pedis, massage, those kind of things?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been working for other people for around 2 years, and then I came to recognize myself, and I had the passion. So niliamua tu nifungue yangu.
Ukatoka kwa employer ulienda na clients ama ulienda hivi peke yako?
So unajua unaenda na clients.
Ulienda na clients? Yeah. Because you were doing a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so yako peke yako umekuwa kwa sababu umekuwa employed for 2 years.
Yeah.
So yako imekuwa ikirun for how long sasa?
Sasa ni 1 year.
Inaenda poa?
Yeah, inaenda poa.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Okay, great. To my ladies and gentlemen, what constitutes a great idea, a brilliant idea, if there's anything like that at all? We can start with you, Charity.
Thank you so much, Mikali.
Yes.
And I think what I would say is, as you have heard the three mention, a good idea will always start from what need have you seen? Articulating, understanding the user needs that are there, because until you're able to see what is it that I want to solve, then that idea is not an idea. Because once you identify where the gap is, then you move to the next level and try to see what solutions can I offer. And I like the way they have put it, because clearly someone took time to see where the gap was, and then now they went ahead to find a solution for it.
Great.
Yeah.
Do all ideas, can all ideas probably translate into a brilliant idea? You know, is there like a composition of, you know, it has to be like this, like that for it to be a brilliant idea? Because we have ideas and we jot them down. I think last year I had like 3. I managed to do 1 successfully. But then ni kama nimewacha. 33%. So yeah, I had 3. I knew, like last year, September, I knew I had 3 things to do before December, at least begin. And I could only just do 1. So what constitutes, of all the ideas that I had, only 1 was able to. So what constitutes?
I'd say 1 has to go hard on structure. It's very important to go hard on structure. You will quickly find what translates an idea into enterprise is the kind of ecosystem that is built around that idea.
Okay.
Case in point, I know you know about that uncle, as we call them, who has been selling peanuts the day you are in primary school, and you came back and you're in high school now, and he says you've become so big, I can't imagine still selling peanuts.
Yes.
Right? And then you come from university, is completely shocked. You're another still selling peanuts. But there are organizations that are selling peanuts in this country that are buying jets from it. So the industry can never be the problem. It's the structure that you put around the idea in order that it comes to its full optimal expression. So you then find that in the same market, you'll find that there are those telcos, despite the infrastructure and balance sheet size, that are not doing as well as others. You have the ranking. And you'll quickly see that in order for you to, as it were, build a business that scales, you are better off going stronger on structure than on the idea. Let me demonstrate one more time.
Okay.
Do you know that you are comfortable with any amount of power that enters this building because you trust the science of electrical engineering? So because we can contain it, channel it, and direct it, that's where the power is. So consequently, there is a way to build a business that scales. I like to tell my mentees that you need to focus on only 9 things, which is regarded as the business model canvas. They talked about having an idea. So you begin with the idea, beautiful, but make sure your idea is unique. It's very important to differentiate, and you can differentiate through very many ways. Generically speaking, at least, there's a professor of strategy called Michael Porter, 1982. He concretized competitive strategy. And his main argument was that you can differentiate with only 2 ways. Either you go with focus, meaning you're segmenting one particular niche, right? Or you become a cost leader, meaning you differentiate by efficiency. So you find then that this structure, when you implement these structures to any business idea, whether it's tomato selling, chicken selling, salon business, then the possibility of scale is there. So the predictability of the output of business is purely based on the type of structure you have. So the stronger the structures, the higher the likelihood of scaling. One more thought. A study by London School of Economics actually found that those SMEs that implemented key standard operating procedures around their processes. They put structure in their business. They outperformed those without by 98%.
Whoa.
So you begin to now see what the power, how do you understand your customer? What is the customer persona? Are you segmenting according to the way where they live, demographics, or who they are, demographic still, or how they think, psychographic? So that idea of business structure is very important. I'll run through the others in 30 seconds. So you start with your unique value proposition, then you need to think about what kind of customer relationships are you creating. Very important. Are you engaging with customers from a transactional point of view, like buying a painkiller, or are you interacting with a customer from a longer time point of view, like salon business? So if you are in a salon business, the kind of customer structure you put is not the same as a pharmacy.
No.
Because while pharmacy, we are pharmacy agnostic. Because it doesn't matter. You can't say me, there's a favorite pharmacy I go to, right? Yeah, but when you come to a barber shop, then there's a particular barber shop you go to. People even say if you don't go to the same, you are now cheating on your barber.
Exactly, it's the whole thing.
They catch, right?
Yeah.
So you begin to see then the customer care structure for these different businesses are completely different because of the different objectives. Once you have your customer relationship defined, you need to also define how you're going to communicate to your customers, marketing channels. It could be that you're writing a letter to a Mjaluo girl in Kikisi.
Yeah.
So you're wondering, why isn't this girl responding? Why are you racist? You don't like guys with dark skin, you know. Yet it is, the problem was the language. They didn't, you need to speak to the customer in a language they can understand. It's very interesting to even know you can use the R&D of all these big companies. Look at the advertisements. When you look at the advertisements, they're speaking to the majority of their customer base. So if you want a product that scales, that is your customer. Because they won't bring your sophisticated English in a lot of these commercials we see. So then you have the marketing channels, how you speak to your customers. All together, then you segment your customers, you see. All this will determine your revenue and your revenue streams. The better you build those structures, but on the left side is your cost structure. So what are your key activities and SOPs? What are your key assets and capital layout plan? What are your key partnerships for those activities and or assets that you don't have? All together is your cost structure. If you can put that structure on anything, then you're able to scale it.
Meandika notes. Mmesikiza? Utasikiza tena. Ruguru, how important is it to research? We've had, figure out what the gap is in society, in community, find a solution, tengeneza structure, but the research of, knowing this is the idea, how does it work, probably visiting places that are actually doing the same thing that you want to do so that you find the thing that probably differentiates what you want to do, what angle you can take. How important is that?
I mean, if you don't research, then what do you actually know? For some of us, you are born in Nairobi, raised in Nairobi, went to school in Nairobi. The most you've gone ni hapa Nakuru. And now you want to, do, let's even take, for example, toothpaste. You want to make a new How do you know that people in Mandera use toothpaste? Or, what is it? What did Colgate do all the hundreds years ago that has kept them in business? If you don't research, what do you actually know? If are you doing a business for your local market, where you live, unaishi, Kayole, is your market just for Kayole, or are you doing it for the whole of Nairobi? If you know nothing about your small little space, if you know nothing about your customer, if you know nothing about what it is that they want, then it could just be a really good idea.
And that's it.
And that's
it's
it.
Like it's instinct, it's gut.
And
I was born like this. I know how to do these things. I saw my mom do it. Now I can just, So
for example, let me give you an example. I just started a new business.
Oh, congratulations.
So, thank you very much. But it's still in the research stage because I'm making body butters made from shea butter and, cocoa butter and stuff. Why did I start making it? My young child has eczema. So I needed something that can fix it. So I made it and it worked. I was like, oh, this is nice. Okay, so but now I'm in the stage for, do people actually need body butter? Does it actually just work for my family? Or do people need it? For now, I'm just, I give you try, you're like, it's so nice, you buy another one. But I need to do a lot more research. I know that a lot of people now don't want chemicals in whatever it is that they're using on their skin. So at least I know that much.
Yes.
But I have to do a lot more research. I have to do, it melts in the heat. Should I, make it not melt? If that's the case, then what do I use? All those things are things that I need to be able to figure out before I can put it in a supermarket.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I like that. I hope we are all learning, because sometimes we start businesses because we are passionate. I love it. I do it so effortlessly. I don't put it, like, I don't have to think about it. Ninaamuka tu na inasonga. I cook amazing for my family until you get out here, watu wanashikwa na allergies. So research is important. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Remember, the question that we are asking you today is, what's the wildest business idea you've ever had? What's the wildest business idea you've ever had? And would you still launch it today? And I hope you're taking notes, because hapa tuko shule. Tumerudishwa skuli, ni kusoma. NTV Kenya on all our social media platforms. Our WhatsApp line, you can send in your message right there, and our lines are open. Please make that phone call, ask that question, and we will have our experts today just give you an answer, encourage you, give you direction. But right now, though, we're going to take that quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Your World Thursday edition. We're talking matters, ideas, impact, legacy, all of that when it comes to businesses. And the question we're asking you today is, what is the wildest business idea you've ever had? Would you still launch it? What is the wildest business idea that you have ever had, and would you still launch it? And we have someone on Facebook saying, he's called December Jeff, saying, having my own big spa. Yes, I believe of launching it sooner, and all the best. I hope you're following the conversation to just know what it is that you need to do now that it's just in the idea phase. You are in a safe space because you get to learn, right? And we've talked about where great ideas begin and what that looks like, but what then happens after that? How do we turn ideas into impact? How do we move from it just being an abstract thing to actually moving it to being actionable? Charity.
Thank you. And I think to answer that, I would start with maybe, if it's okay, I can talk about what I do at Private Equity Support.
Yes.
So Private Equity Support, being an advisory firm, we are basically working with MSMEs. And over the time, we've been able to work with over 40% youth-led and own businesses. What we do is help them access finance and also support them in capacity building, technical assistance, and fundraising, basically. So what really we look at in the businesses that we've worked with, what I see is for any business to grow from this level to the next level, as Stan has talked about business model, because I think what you've given is a good overview what a business model canvas looks like.
Yes.
It's that a lot of the youth, yes, you have the business idea, you start looking at the solutions, but then the actual implementation is another thing that you need to be very keen about, because just having the idea and having a solution to it, we need other partners to work with you. And again, this is the gap that we normally come in to fill, the fundraising bit, because you realize you can think about doing, money will always come in any business venture. And I think that's a lot of challenge, or other areas that we find some businesses tend to, we use the name, even die, we talk about them dying, because if you don't get the best person or partner to handhold you to get that business idea now to come to fruition, then it becomes very hard. So basically, during the engagements that we have partners who come in. For those that are lucky to get into programs with DFIs, they come, we take them through trainings, we help them put business plans together, we help them now get some, some get some initial capital to start off their businesses, and that's, we handhold them so that to the end they are able to feel. But then I know some will ask,
I have a question already. Like, how do you say hii ni tunaweza shika mkono ya huyu na huyu hatuwezi? What are some of those things that you're looking at? Because they have, I can see the gentleman there is just doing yes. Mikali, that's my question. Like, how do you vet? What are you looking for when they show up and they're like, I want to open my own big spa?
So it now goes back to, what are you solving? We look at the problem, and again, referring to what Stan had said in the business model,
Yes.
the value proposition,
Okay.
the uniqueness. What is differentiate what you want to do from what other people are doing, or what other someone doing, but you can do better, or has not been done.
Yeah.
And again, we work with investors who sometimes will give us criteria of what are the things that they look at when they want to invest in a business. So now, those are some of the things that we have to do, so that for us now we are saying, this one, yes, it will be a viable business idea.
Okay.
So again, through our firm especially, we don't just tell you this cannot work.
Okay.
We come in to help you, build it in a way that now it can be acceptable out there. So what I'm trying to say here is sometimes a business idea, solutions are there, but you should not give up quite quickly.
Okay.
There's always keep trying. Because we've seen some young entrepreneurs come to us and say, I've been to many people with this business idea, over 40 people sometimes.
Yeah.
And it is after that the 41 has accepted, and the business tends to grow very fast. So not giving up is another thing that I always encourage the youth to do. As long as you refine and ensure that there's the clarity of what is it that you want to offer.
Absolutely, I love that, and I hope that question was answered for you as well. We'll get to the part where you get to ask the questions, but Stan, we've seen businesses that look really good on paper. Like, ukiangalia your paperwork, this is perfect, but when it comes to practice, then something happens. It doesn't go hand in hand. Paperwork amazing, but the actuality on ground is very different. What causes the disconnect there? Many things, but
Thank you so much. So when you're examining a business, there's a very little known labor economics formula. It's only 3 variables. And the argument there is that output is a function of only 2 things. It's the capital and labor. So output is a function of K plus L. So if I was to use that to guide the thought that I want to deliver here, is the idea then that if you're gonna, as it were, predict the outcome of your business, there are those 2 pillars that you have to keep in very clear view. But the paradox is there is the false assumption that is actually a very lazy one, that where capital is in abundance, business will move forward. It is not true.
It is not?
It is completely not true.
We are stuck at looking for that money, Stan. It's like nikipata mutu ani-invest, animwagie pesa hivi, tumeondoka.
While it has more levels of truth that we can articulate here, you will quickly see that the true force of business is not capital, but capability. They are both C words, right? So there are studies that have demonstrated that those organizations that have very high spending on innovation outperform those that don't spend on innovation by 38%. All right, that's the one. Here's the second thought. There are Kenyan examples that I can quote here to demonstrate further that balance sheet strength does not mean product efficiency. For instance, there is a telco in this country that decided they want also to become what is it called, an online shop. They decided that because we have the balance sheet, what we're going to do, we are going to put together our funds and we are going to start an online shop. After all, Jumia is doing very well. They have a bigger balance sheet. They have stronger cash flows. They have stronger brand equity and so on. What happens is like these guys who will DM a lady and then when she refuses, he says, I was not even serious. You don't know jokes, right? So what happens now? They now take all that platform and they're now using it to sell phones. I'll give another example that hits closer to home. There is one particular media station that decided they want to enter into money transfer business. And you'll quickly realize that while money transfer business is lucrative, while there is a market for that money transfer, do you have the capability? It's been crystallized into a concept called organizational capability theory. That your ability to transform capital into product that can now concretize your revenue streams is purely hinging on what capabilities do you have. Again, those capabilities cannot be gained overnight because you have a lot of things like institutional memory. Remember, again, you're building your assets or your ecosystem of production from the idea of what value proposition am I pitching. So could it be that I sell same-day slaughtered chicken? So when I come to your factory, you have a lot of things that facilitate that. One of them will not be fridges. You see that? So if I now turn and say that we sell same-day fried omena, you quickly see, while I do have the financial capability, I don't have the organizational capability. So the methodology and the skill set must match. Anytime you have more cash than you have capability, prepare yourself for losses, right? But when you go deeper, over and above capital, so we are thinking about how do you get that capital, but now I'm prioritizing that before you go for capital, go for capability. The second is that if you are going to have consistent output, you have to think about labor. Now, for many entrepreneurs or for many startups, people who are starting their own business, you have to have the correct perception of human capital and how it works. Very important, especially because in the early days, you will not have sufficient capitalization to get into every asset class that you require to deliver your value proposition. So consequently, you have to think about human capital optimization. For instance, did you know that financially unwell employees are 75% less unlikely to suggest innovative products? So on your cost, while you're paying the full payroll cost, you're getting a suboptimal result. As a matter of fact, they said that the output of a financially stressed employee is only at 66%. So I'm paying you 100,000, but 44,000 shillings went to medicate your own internal mental stress on financial wellness. So you quickly begin to see that I can invest in a non-capital intensive way. For instance, I can invest in developing employee mental wellness, that is soft skills, that will introduce an uplift in my revenue without investing in capital. One more thought. Did you also know, this one now will completely shock you, that those startups who have individuals that despite them owning the full capital submit to accountability outperform those without by 78%? That those CEOs who have accountability partners who come and put them to people who, non-executive directors, people who don't have any commercial interest whatsoever in the business, and they're able to speak the business without any fluff and without any cajoling and, you know, eggshell walking, those CEOs outperform. So collaboration then becomes the advantage, especially if you are in a tight, should I say, capital environment. An FSD study found that 85% of the opportunities in Nairobi are given around the same circles. So you begin to see that ideas around building human capital, mental wellness, networking can give you more advantage. You can move further, you can get more acceleration than somebody who's overly capitalized. Research is now showing that those organizations that have sufficient capital only for the next product outperform those who are overfunded. Because you don't solve business problems with money. You solve business problems with innovation. Ultimately, the only reason why we even have a profit is because of this economic asymmetry, the information asymmetry. So there has to be something that you are solving in the most optimal way. So many people will think, I will have a better salon, I'll have a better spa if I can get the biggest sauna, if I can get, more Wi-Fi, if I can get better furniture. Think about how about increasing customer care service. Think about how increasing mental wellness. Think about how do you increase the, should I say, the work-health balance of your own employees. Those are non-capital intensive mitigations, and they have an upper uplift than capital deployment.
Yameni, notes. We have a question here from Stephanie Mwaura, and I think this, I will direct it to you, Rogoro. For someone starting with limited capital but a bold idea, how do they design a plan that speaks to both scalability and sustainability?
So, with planning, you have to start. It's important to understand whatever vision you're going for. What is it that you're actually trying to do? What's the big picture? And then from there, start slowly and calm down. Say for example, I want to, let's use, my example. I want my body butter to go across the country. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. But then what does that mean? What is across the country? Oh, okay, we have 47 counties. Great. All right. So come down to that. What does that mean? If I was actually to be able, can I actually be able to do 47 counties? Probably not. Okay, let's go down to, if I was only to do in Nairobi, what would that mean?
Yeah.
Where would I be selling it? How would people know about it? You know, who would be making it? What he said about human capital. It takes me forever to just make one batch. You know, who do I teach?
You are the employee.
Exactly. He talked about, you know, coming up with a system. What's a system? What exactly am I putting in it? Now, you know, the way we normally make, you know, we put a little bit of salt and say, you know, napima na macho.
Yeah, ancestors wamesema imetosha.
You can't build a business with the ancestors wamesema. You know, the example you said about food. I make food perfectly. All right. So now you have opened a restaurant. You can't make the food for all 500 people that are going to come and patronage you. Yeah. So you have to actually come down to the nitty-gritties. And then the bottom line is, what is it that I can do? What is it I want to do? What is it that I can do? What is it that I can do in the next 1 month? What is it that I can do in the next 1 week? What is it that I can do in the next 2 days? What is it that I can do today so that it helps me to build my business, you know, to start my business for tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So you have to bring that plan all the way to what is it that I can do today. I want to build a house.
Yes.
Okay, do I have land? Oh no, okay, so maybe perhaps let's start from where is land, you know, being gotten from? How much money do you actually have? Okay, I don't have money. Oh wow. So then in which case then, how much money do I need? I want land for say 10 million shillings. Okay, so how much do I have now? 100,000. Okay, how do I get to 10 million shillings? You know, you have to actually break it down so that there's a real plan. Otherwise, really the truth is you're just dreaming. If you don't put down the plan to the point of where you can say, for me to get to 10 million shillings to buy land so that I can build a house, I need to be able to save 100,000 shillings every month. Not feasible. Okay, fine. I need to be able then to save 10,000 shillings every month. So which means it will take me this long to buy the land, this long to get the money for the house. You need to actually know what it is. Otherwise, it's just
an idea.
It's just an idea. It's a good dream.
Yeah. And I know we talk about red flags in relationships. That's where we know them from, right? Red flags, but businesses, and I know you deal with this Charity a lot. You meet the young ones, they come and, you know, work on my ideas. But what is that one thing, having interacted with so many of them, what are some of the red flags that you see, even as they show up and encourage them to continue and probably guide them on the right path? What are some of the mistakes that are being done? In this case, we're calling them 2 red flags.
I think I will start with what I mentioned earlier, the value proposition, the uniqueness of the idea. Because one, people don't take time to see what is different from what someone else is doing. We have so many people who want to offer a solution because they have seen someone start something and it is working. So you think, I can also do it and excel.
Yeah.
The other thing, especially from the young people, we normally, you know, in the discussions, we get to feel is that stamina or pushing. It's usually a big problem.
Oh, really?
Where someone, you knock, as I said earlier, you knock one door, and if someone is not buying what you are saying, you feel like, this is not working. There's always that challenge that you feel like, I really don't have people to support me.
Yes.
But over and above that, for me, I've always encouraged young entrepreneurs that take time at the ideation stage. Don't rush your idea.
Okay.
Do as much research as possible. Know the market. What Rugora said. We use these terms, total addressable market, you know, the business terms.
Yes.
Sort of serviceable, addressable market, you know, then what is obtainable at your level. So understand the market, the persona, because again, if it's not very clear who your target customer is, then you get to offer solution for everybody, and it is not possible.
Okay.
So you need to really take time at the ideation stage and be very clear. And I think that is one thing. If we get to build that, then you really get to come up with something that is well thought of. And even sitting in a table, looking now for the financing and people to move with you. Because again, this idea can only work, as much as I know Stan has mentioned capital being second after capability.
Yes.
If there is no capital to start, then you won't move to the next level. So yes, you should be able to check and see that all the aspects have been taken care of, but take time at the ideation stage and build a case that is really bankable.
There's something that I think that's come up with the three of you. It's how unique the idea needs to be. And we have businesses coming up every other week. Like leo kuna mupia, kuna ingine kesho, zingine zinafanana. It's a spa. It's a barbershop. It's a food restaurant. Like how, when we talk about unique, are we talking about like a grand gesture or maybe small little tiny tweaks here and there that then assist to make it special? And even when you identify that, how do you put it out there to just be like, najua ila inyote tunauza Swahili dishes, but yangu ni normal because of, that little extra thing. Are we looking for a big grand thing, or is it small little tweaks? Charity, if you
just a quick point on that, and then Stan can take it.
Okay.
When I talk about this uniqueness, is at the point where you are trying to understand the user need and the idea you have you identified the pain point? Do you know what is it that people are looking for and they're not getting from what is available?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you be a client as well to these other places and be like, okay, cool. Maybe, okay, cool. Stan.
One name. There's a gentleman called Alfred Chandler.
Okay.
He's the so-called modern day father of strategic management. 1962, he argued, what is the purpose of businesses? For what reason do organizations exist? And after a lot of research, I think he did about 500 companies in the United States, he came and argued that the purpose of business is to maximize shareholders' wealth. That's the argument, that the purpose of business is to maximize shareholders' wealth. Fantastic, great. So how then will you maximize shareholders' wealth? Is because you will take their capital and convert it into a product that the market wants. And consequently, that conversion is what will now create the profit, as it were, right? So that then quickly gives you two broad areas of focus, that you have to take care of the people who own the capital, the people who are funding you, you included, and you have to take care of the people who are buying your product, right? Your customers. So how do you take care of shareholders' wealth, corporate governance, control? How do you take care of customers? Consistency. You see that? Now, so if you are consistent with your service delivery as far as your value proposition is concerned, then that begins to grant you the competitive advantage or uniqueness. So you can differentiate by consistent quality service. That if I take my cappuccino in Mama Ngina Street at Java, and I take my cappuccino at, Kenyatta Avenue, and if I take my cappuccino at Yaya Center, even the temperature could be the same. That could be, in fact, a differentiation. Let me speak about control for a little bit. I'm writing my PhD on corporate governance, and I'm regressing the impact of corporate governance on the performance and longevity of Kenyan fintechs. You will be surprised that 9 out of 10 funded Kenyan fintechs collapse within the first 3 years, despite the funding. And what I'm beginning to find in my study is that there are very big holes of corporate governance. For instance, how do we procure? Right? Do we have an audit committee? Do we have a finance committee? Do we have the 4 I's principle? Who accesses the bank account? What is their KYC and so on? So you begin to find that the business idea was insane. The product market fit was fantastic. The funding was excellence. But lack of control is what now delivered the death blow to a fintech. And I can give you very many local examples here. How many of our staff founders are no longer in their organizations? I can give very many big names that have been on the newspapers and so on. So there you begin to quickly see then that your corporate governance structure ultimately is what will take care of your capital backers, and consequently you're always funded and you're continuously growing. Every time you ask for capital, they're able to give you capital. I inspire many of the SMEs I work with, even though you don't go for the ISO certification, get the ISO procedures and begin to implement. In the end, that owners of capital are protected. But in doing that, when you're a process-driven business, then you're able to deliver consistent quality. Do you know you can double your business overnight by word of mouth? So if you have 5 clients today, as long as you invested in them properly as far as value delivery is concerned, you don't need to spend marketing. If all 5, if the agenda of customer obsession is that all these 5 must sing even in their mother tongue, then every day you can say, if I serve 5 today, tomorrow it will be 10. Yeah. So if I serve 10 today, tomorrow it will be 20. Are you realizing you have now predicted your growth not based on capital injection but service delivery? All that comes back to corporate governance and consistent in quality. Both don't cost you anything.
Yeah.
So the assumption that businesses grow because they are funded well is not only false, but is very far from the truth.
Oof. And can I add something?
Yes, please.
So, you know, sometimes that thing that you said, you said a barber shop, there are 5 barber shops. You know?
Yes.
Someone is selling bananas, so even me, I'm going to sell bananas.
Yes.
You know, but sometimes you want to look at what else. If the person selling bananas and there's nobody selling oranges, maybe I should sell oranges, because people who eat bananas also eat oranges. So for example, there's somebody who said, somebody calls and says, I need you to help me with my agriculture. I have this land in Eldoret and I want to make millions out of it. And the first thing they said was, what do you want to grow? And they said, maize. And the person said, you'll never make millions out of growing maize in Eldoret or Kitale. Why? Everybody in Kitale is growing maize. So unless, I don't know, your maize is going to be from where, I don't know, it is south. The truth is, there's already a flood in that market. But what else is missing in Kitale? What else is not good? Because the land can grow anything.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, for example, if you went to Ukambani has a lot of fruits.
Yes, we do.
You know, a lot of fruits. So, but what else is not being grown in Ukambani? You know, if you go to my village in Nyeri, we have a lot of bananas. In fact, during banana season, every home you go to, they'll give you a whole banana. So going and growing bananas there is not going to help you. What else can complement whatever it is that is being done? If there are many restaurants in this area and there's nobody selling them vegetables, maybe don't open the restaurant, instead open a greengrocer, so that they can come and buy their nyanyas and their kitungus from you. Then you're actually making, because the problem is many times we want to be copycats. We figure if 5 people are selling bananas, surely
it's working. They've been selling for 5 years.
There you go. You don't know why. Maybe they have a shamba that they get their bananas from, and now here you are copying to get the bananas. So maybe perhaps just think, what else can actually complement these businesses that are here?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever come across someone who's tried like 55 other businesses and like they're very passionate. They know business is what they were created to do. And I don't know who's going to answer this, but maybe probably Rugoro after the break, just finding out, are there like some personalities that really, before you start the business, you need to work on self to know mukono yangu? And is there really a thing like that I can't, business is not for me, probably because of my spending habits or how I view money and all of that, because there's a relationship with money that we cannot ignore, and probably that translates into business as well. But we'll get into that after the break, and of course we'll get questions from our audience today. But the question we're asking you and encouraging you to indulge with us on our WhatsApp line and call us as well, because our lines are open. The question we're asking you is, what's the wildest business idea you've ever had? What's the wildest business idea you've ever had? Would you still launch it today? Please let us know. NTV Kenya on all our social media platforms. We'll be looking at your feedback after the break. Don't go too far. Welcome back. Welcome back. We were talking business, manenos, how to grow that from an idea to, you know, it being actionable, it being competitive, and of course, probably being one of those few ones that leave a legacy out here. And because just before the break, during the break, there was a whole discussion continuing. I'm not going to do that to you, don't worry. Don't worry. But the thing that I asked just before the break, before we get questions from the audience, is you have started a business. You started another one. You started another one. Business is not mkono chako wachana nayo. But then what is the problem there? Is it a personality thing when it comes to how I view money, how I view businesses, how I handle them? Maybe it's not for me. And is there anything like that? Is it a thing?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think you can learn anything.
Okay.
I think that would probably be the thing. You can learn.
Yeah.
if you've started one business and a second and a third and you're at business number 54 and they're all failing,
Yes.
what's the common thread in all this? Because there's something that Stan said. Any business, literally, there's somebody who sells peanuts in
Yes.
the supermarket,
Yeah.
and there's somebody who sells peanuts on the side of the road.
Yes.
Both are selling the exact same
Same thing,
product.
yeah.
What is the difference? And for many of us, honestly, our education system did not teach us to think business. So already you've been set up there. So you have to go out for yourself
Yes.
to learn. When was the last time you picked up a business book and actually learned anything new? When was the last time that you entered a business class? Every time that you hear somebody doing a business mastermind, is your first answer is it's too expensive. It's too, when was the last time you actually learned something? And then sit down and look, what is it that I'm actually not doing? Where am I failing? Is it capital, for example, that I don't have? Then in which case solve that problem. If capital is not your problem, is it, competency? Is it that I don't actually know? Is it books? Is it that you can't keep accounts? Then go to an accounting class or hire an accountant.
Yeah.
Simply, the business is not the issue. So you need to solve it. And if you have decided, by God's grace, I am going to make sure that I'm a business person, I'll be an entrepreneur, then go to school and learn how to do that.
Okay.
There are so many, I think our country has so many places that are trying to help businesses to grow. Businesses, Charity has talked about all these things that they do. Go and join one of those programs and get somebody to tell you what to do and do it.
Yeah.
Because for many of us, I told somebody today, all people who play sports, for example, and are experts, are professionals, what do they all have? A coach.
Yeah.
But amateurs, we want to do it ourselves.
We know.
We know.
And plus coaches are expensive.
Yeah, coaches are
How do you
expensive,
pay
yeah.
them? The business is barely career.
There you go. Yeah.
we'll have all kinds of excuses.
And you don't even have to pay for the coach.
No.
The internet is full of free coaching.
Yes. Yeah. Mary Karanja says she opened up, I opened up a business, a shawarma business, and it's been doing very well. Right next to me, another lady opened up another shawarma business, copying everything that I'm doing. In a time where we have copycats springing up fast, how can one structure a business idea or model that can withstand competition and still maintain a unique edge? I think we can...
Yeah, I think for such a case, I would start by appreciating that she should be happy that she started an idea, a business that
inspired someone
felt that it was doing well, and that's why they did the same. But from now, her business, what you need to do now, beyond starting the business, because already you've tested your case, it is working.
Yes.
How do you now retain that customer? That would make the difference. Because the moment you have customers who believe in what you're offering in terms of quality, the customer service that they are getting, those are some of the retention measures that you would incorporate into your business, so that as much somebody can just next door start the same business with you, you have a customer who says they can't take from. If you have closed, they won't eat from the other shop.
Yeah.
So you go now to these softer things.
Soft
Retention,
skills,
yes, retaining your customer, ensuring the environment of the business that you are offering. Is it providing in that in time where now people are very conscious about safety, cleanliness? How do you up your game that will again take you different from the other person? We always go back to the uniqueness of your business.
I'm imagining if somebody, and Stan, maybe you changia this one as I top it up. I'm imagining someone, see, so Mary Karanja, shawarma business yake has been doing well, right? So if I'm going to start mine next to Mary Karanja, then that means I have to top whatever she's doing, right? So that I can steal from probably the clients or get my own and retain them. So as you answer that question that she asked, and topping up to what Charity has said, with that in mind as well, because, I mean,
maybe just to mention, look at the supermarkets.
Okay.
They have very good at opening shops next
to each other. That's true.
But do you see they are able to maintain their own clients?
Yes.
They started these programs of loyalty,
Wakaenda wote.
Yeah, so you have to now think beyond what you are doing and provide something that will retain the customer for you.
Absolutely.
I believe strongly that the methodology must match the destination. So there has to be methodology, destination, agreement, ab initio if you're going to move forward. For example, he that wears cassava leaves must not walk with a goat. Because you are now having methodology, destination.
Is that an African program?
Is it?
It's an Ogiek saying.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you can even know exactly how your business is going to behave. There are only 3 market structures. It's either you are in a monopolistic market structure, which is one seller, or you are in an oligopolistic market structure, which are few sellers, like the media, the telcos, and so on, or you're in perfect competition market structure.
Yeah.
And by the way, the further down you go, the market structure, the higher up your effort is.
Yeah.
For instance, when you're in a perfect competition market structure, like growing maize and so on, or starting shawarma business, meaning there is no uniqueness, there is no barriers to entry, and there are many players, many buyers, new ones are entering, others are exiting, and all of you are price takers. You can only compete on efficiency. So you need to think about cost optimization. How do you solve for cost optimization? Scale.
Yeah.
So if you are now coming into a business that is already in a perfect competition market structure, selling phone chargers, salons, there is literally no differentiation, then you can only go hard on cost efficiency because we are all price takers. But you want to create an oligopolistic or monopolistic, a quasi-oligopolistic, monopolistic market structure in perfect competition. By looking for what is called, I think it's called Chan. Chan talked about blue oceans. So the idea is, how then do you go to those segments of the market where price is not a consideration? You will actually find statistics has now shown, this is a World Bank report of 2016, that in any sample of people, 85% of the budget is with the 15%, with the top 15%. So you find then that if I can go to a business that is perfect competition like salon, so many players, coming in, coming out, no barriers to entry, you can buy all these salon equipments, no regional, territorial hindrances and so on, you can begin to compete by focusing now on blue oceans, meaning in those aspects of the market where price is no longer an issue. For instance, in the same city, this one, from here we can walk 20 to 30 minutes to a barber shop of 40 shillings. And from here, you can walk 20 to 30 minutes to a barber shop of 40,000. It's the same thing. It's just an issue of where in the market are you playing. Where in the market are you? You need to go with systems over sweat. The man that thinks will outperform the man that works 10 times every day, rounding circles, and still have time to rest.
We're building a business, and I know we've said put in the work, we've said do your research, have models and all of that, but then we can't, and we're solving solutions. That's the point, solving solutions. So it's not probably what I'm getting back first, but then we can't move away from the thing of quick returns, which is very common. Yes, nimeanza biashara, ninafaa kuendesha Lamborghini in, I don't know, maybe a year. How do we change the mindset of that? How should we get into the business from the conceptualization of it to growing it with the mindset of it might take a while?
Okay, the truth is we all know it might take a while. We're just
we're just
not ready. Let me just say it as it is.
Idea yako ni unique.
No. Idea yako ni unique. But unless you're, okay, so for example, if you look, there's some people who, when they started the business, they were given $1 million to start business. That guy is gonna be buying a Lamborghini next week, you know. But the truth is, you haven't even gotten to the point where you're even getting anybody to give you money. So Lamborghini is not even a bicycle may not come. You need, I think it's important, and this is, I love that question, because for many of us, we are thinking about my stomach today. not my generations, 4 generations from now. And this actually is an African problem. In Africa, we build and then the next generation divides it. Isn't that what we do? Tutapatia huyu mtoto hii nyumba, na huyu mtoto hii shamba, na huyu mtoto, we divide it. There are very many other communities that never divide. They come together and grow what was grown by the first generation so that the next generation grows it. And then the next generation, so 4 generations later, we are wondering, hey, how did these guys get there? Because they didn't divide it in the first place.
Yeah.
For many, and many, I mean, we know many examples, I won't name them, but many people in Africa have started big businesses. The moment the patriarch dies, we go to court. Yeah. We start fighting.
Yes.
We are not willing to build for generations. We are building for me today. I want to drive the Lamborghini today. Not next week, not next year, not even. And the truth is, if I build it, like he said, with systems, if I think about it with systems, my children's children, they will own the Lamborghini company. You know, we don't think like that. We think, and that's because for many of us, we've been taught to consume. Yeah? Why do I want to drive a Lamborghini? Do you know you cannot drive a Lamborghini in Kenyan roads? Do you know how many bumps and potholes we have? Like, this is a complete waste of money. But I want it because it's been said to be the big thing. What is the main point? Transport.
Yeah.
Even an Uber is transport. You just need to be able to move from one place to another. If I can be able to figure out the why, and for me, the why is wealth for generations. That there will be a Sijeni somewhere 4 generations from now that will say, hey, those people, they did something that was able to make sure that my generation, all I'm doing now is loving people, you know, giving to the poor. I can work, but not because I have to. Yeah. Now, the truth is somebody has to pay that price.
Yeah.
If the price was not paid before you, then you're it. You're the one who's paying the price, whether you like it or not. Now, if you don't pay the price, your children will have to make that decision whether they are going to pay the price or not. For many people, where generation after generation is involved in poverty, is because nobody is willing to pay the price. Yeah. Until that person comes and says, for the sake of my generations, I will pay the price. I may never drive. I may never even own a bicycle. But at least I have started these generations to a point where the next generations won't be starting from 0. At least they'll start from 1. Yeah.
Wait, watch it, Lamborghini yangu. There's I don't know if it's this is probably just hearsay and conversations kwa corridors about how a business takes about like 3 years for it to start making sense, 5 years. There's a timeline of some sort. Maybe you can get a clarification of that and if it's actually true and what those dates, years are and why. Anyone can go.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Ladies first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, that is there.
Yes.
And maybe most of the studies will show 3 years.
Okay.
Why 3 years? It's because you're giving the business time to really get to generate enough to cater for its costs and also now make you some returns. Why the first 3 years can be loss-making, that's normally the scenario, is because there's a lot of capital expenditure. Mostly, if you're doing a business that requires you to chuck in a lot of money before you start matching with the revenues and the bottom line. So the business, for it to build the revenues to a level that they're able to give you margins, then it can't be as quick as 1 year. Unless, I don't know which business that would be. Yeah. So over the years and the businesses that we've been able to work with, that really tends to stand. And it's usually a very good starting point for anyone starting their businesses, because if you get to the business with the idea of, I want to make money the first year, what then you'll do is that you'll start getting a lot of money out of the business. Instead of getting to reinvest the money the business is giving you to grow it so that it can stabilize, then you'll be spending on the money that you're making. So it's usually encouraged that those 3 years is for you to reinvest whatever that you're getting, because again, there are many things that may not go right the first year. So within the 3 years, you'll take time to correct what has not worked. So it's like, it prepares you, basically. so that that mentality of Lamborghini and all that. Don't close shop very
That is just
fast.
rolling his eyes when he's closing them. It's just like Lamborghini where.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well done. Business strategy does have a gestation period.
Yeah.
You will find that after conception, it doesn't matter, especially in this country where people like profits. Yeah? So you can go and even bring anointing oil with its original spices from Israel. But a baby takes 9 months. And a baby does not grow by telling the baby to grow. A baby grows by giving the baby the right nutrition for the baby to grow. I found a central bank study of 2022 that actually argued for the normal Kenya, wealth is built in decades. The problem is, you have been making annual resolutions, and that is where you're going wrong, and you enter into your business and you want to have annual resolutions as well. What is the shortest time strategy can be used to implement is exactly what you said. It's 3 to 5 years. That you will only see the end result of that strategy, the potency, the efficacy of your business strategy to concretize profit from the market. You will begin to see it from year 3. Remember again that the idea that you will break even quickly is coming from a psychological dysfunction that all of us have, because we are not cognitively translucent. So the idea of cognitive translucent is, if you met yourself today on the street, do you know you will not recognize yourself? Because in your mind you think you're better than you are. And that is a reality.
Ouch.
You can be right now being sentenced to death.
Yes.
But in your mind, you'll be saying, everybody is wrong. They don't understand what I had to do.
Yes.
Everybody is wrong. The whole country, your whole family, the whole judicial, everybody who has all that, everybody is wrong except you. Why? Because we are not cognitively translucent. And consequently, that idea that I'll make money quickly is actually a plan that is based on hope, faith, and love. But hope, faith, and love are the biggest concretizers of loss in the marketplace. Because the marketplace will use data.
That's
statistics.
True. Yeah. You and your passion. One side. You had a question?
Yes, I had a question. Thank you. Because my question want to be more formal, I will not based on the datas.
Okay.
I will be glad to hear from the coach in the room. They talked about business model canvas from the beginning.
Yes.
And when you see that business model canvas block, as he said, I think is down bottom line. We have the cost structure and the cost revenue, which are more bigger than compared to other structures when you look into. So one of the question is, what is the significance of two in business, someone who wants to set up a business? Now, in just a simple question to a woman in Kibra who wants to start a business and she's not educated, as a coach, how will you explain to that just in a manual language? Then another question is about, we have people who want to start the business and they have an idea, but maybe they are not more into education matters. They can't do the statistics and data. They can't do research. But because that's the last thing they can do, they can't secure a job. Maybe let me take for an example, maybe at the moment we have a youth who dropped out of the school. She doesn't or he doesn't have education, but he thinks I can do or I can start a business to take care of my kids or whatever such the way it is, right? So what could be the best advice like that youth can be given today and really can transform their life in whatever little they have, just in local language or ile tu lugha ya mtaa.
Tuongee.
Yes.
Ile sijui stand mbona inakaa ni kama wanakuingilia.
Yeah, because the reason is as well, what you're saying is true, but again, the data and the reports that we have others still they're not working. So my question even is,
Okay.
we have a lot of data and report from World Bank,
Yeah.
the same on SMEs, even from Kibra.
Yeah.
But now when you follow those information and data, they're not really translating to what we need to see in terms of economy.
Okay.
So which is which
Tufanye
now?
nini? Okay. Okay.
Maybe they can explain to
Okay.
us.
Would
we
you like him
understand
to
it
answer,
more.
or
Yeah,
do you like
of course. And I can try to answer.
Okay. So, but I think he has about 2 or 3 questions in there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that brilliant question. You know, it's very interesting that the man who is waiting for his girlfriend is very keen. He's so keen he can hear the footsteps of the ancestors because of the expectation
Yeah.
that he has already harbored and also aligned with M-Pesa and sent transport.
Yes.
And consequently, any time now, when you begin to think about, you quickly see that
Yeah.
just because you have a desire to run the Olympics does not mean you should pursue that desire. The second thing, nobody ever won the Olympics by mistake. The third thing, in order for you to enter a race, you must first examine the requirements. And if you examine the requirements and you answered it with hope and enthusiasm and zeal, your body will not agree with you. Because you will say, I can run 40 kilo. What is 40 kilometers? I'm going to run. And then when you begin to run, all of a sudden your back is saying, I don't think you want to run.
to
Your
your
knee is
backyard.
saying, I must testify of your bad health behavior so
Yes.
far. So all of a sudden, all the choices that you have been making that are not consistent with the race that you want to run will begin now to sabotage you and remove you from the race. There's a difference between Emeritus business coach Vusi Thembekwayo said that you can be self-employed,
Yeah.
you can be an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you can be he gave some categories there.
Yes.
And the idea was, as you said, sir, what should can a mama mboga read statistics? Can he read? Can she get all this business data? Can she put all these models in place? And I will ask you, if you are obese and you're going to a 100-meter dash, should you go to that race? No. You shouldn't. You should maybe try shot put. So you have to now go to those categories that align with capabilities that you have and or capabilities you can get. Now, the reason why I speak the way I'm speaking, you see me, I've been in the fintech industry for more than 10 years. I've personally worked on about 180 SMEs. I've written about 970 wealth plans.
Yeah.
But I was a Mjengo man. You see that now. The first time I mixed cement with my hands, I was 17 years old in this very city. I still remember the hot midday sun in August that was tearing a heat ray from the crown of my feet all the way to the sole of. I know exactly the pain of poverty. So I know what it is to come from disadvantage, but it does not mean that dysfunction and or ecosystem should define you. The most important thing is to do everything possible to ensure that your mind is not where you are.
Okay.
The day your mind comes out, baby, you're free forever. I encourage my mentees, I encourage the entrepreneurs I work with, remove the TV from your sitting room. What you need there is booked, especially in this age of AI. Right now, data is beginning to show from a Cambridge study that we are having a reduction of mental capacity by up to 40%.
Wow.
Because what has happened is that we have augmented information. So intelligence is being augmented at a very high rate, but the problem is individual capacity and capability is actually being diverted because you are now delegating thinking, you are delegating strategy, you are delegating tactics, and consequently you have removed your value from the marketplace. So where will you concretize the value? So for me, my biggest message is, depending on where you are, make sure you go into those spaces. Either you have the capability or those are capabilities that you're able to obtain. For example, right now, it is very hard for me to go and offer my services to French-speaking nations because I have a very big obstacle of language fluency.
Yeah.
So I can come here and say, I'm not a French-speaking person now. What should I do? I want to go to Paris. Shut up your mouth. Either learn French or stay in Kenya.
Yeah.
You see, so you can't go and say, these 100 meters, why is it that everybody has to be fit? Everybody must not have a stomach. Me have a stomach. Now what can I do? How will I ever run this race? Cut the stomach.
Yeah.
So get what needs to be done to do the business that you require. So if you are talking about a business that will scale, you will never scale your business if you don't have the correct business sophistication tools to empower that scale.
Okay. Got you answered? Okay, fantastic. Do you want to chime in before we go to break?
Yeah, I was going to say it more simply than a little like that. I think, to answer the question of Mama Mboga, or for that matter, there's somebody, when you're hungry today, everything else sounds all nice and dandy, but I'm hungry today, and maybe I could go and buy a few mbogas and sell, and my children may have food today.
Yes.
I think it's important for that person to know that your business may not be unique. Your business may not, and there might be 5 other people. But there's a reason we all have a Mama Mboga. We don't buy from today I'm buying from this one, tomorrow I'll buy from this. No, we go to the same one.
Yes.
I go to a whole market and I buy from one guy.
Yeah.
In fact, now it's gotten so good that I send him a message with a list. I come, I enter, I take my things, I say how much is it, I pay, I leave. Why? It's a market, literally. It's a vegetable market. Every stand is selling tomatoes.
Yeah.
But I buy from one guy.
person.
Why? Because I like the way he treats me. He knows my name. When I come, he says hello. He remembers I came with my son the other day and he asks how is he. In fact, here is a fruit take for him. That's the reason. So even for that person, whatever it is that you choose to do it with excellence.
Yeah.
Do it so well that people are like, where do I go? I travel to go to my barber. I travel. I don't go
to safari.
Barber. It's not when we're talking about the salon. To my barber. I travel to go to my barber. Why? I like the way it really. We sit, we talk. He remembers. I don't know what he asks about.
You don't have to keep reminding them.
I don't have to keep reminding him that the fade I wanted is like this. It's the same with the salon. I had the same hairdresser for 16 years before I cut my hair. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Why are people coming back to you? Answer that question, and you eventually you'll get to what Stan is saying. You'll get to understanding what the businesses. You'll get to understanding where to get the best greens. But for now, just be when somebody encounters you, they will say, hey, I really like that chick. I have to go back,
Great. Thank you so much for that. We are due on a break and then we can get your sentiment on that once we come back. The question we are asking you is, what's the wildest business idea you've ever had? Would you still launch it today? What's the wildest business idea that you have? And would you launch it today? What is it? NTV Kenya on all our social media platforms. When we come back, Charity, unajibu yo swali. Sindio? Hi, don't go too far. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Trendy Thursday. We're talking businesses and their ideas and growing them. And I have a burning question because I've seen people who've gotten into business and they're old and frail, but they're still there. At what point do I know that I need to create opportunities for other people to step in? What are some of those things, probably pillars that need to be in a business for you to be able to open it up for other people? But we'll get that answered later. But what's the wildest business idea that you have ever had, and would you still launch it? What is the wildest business idea that you have ever had, and would you still launch it? That's the question we are asking you today, and we have a bit of feedback on WhatsApp as well, which you will be looking at. But as they get that up on the screens, Vincent Okoth Onyango says, opening a morgue and making it top standard, but accommodating both rich and poor. Business idea. Business idea. And we have more on WhatsApp. Can we get to see what they are saying? So on WhatsApp, hello, your world. I am Moses. Can you achieve your business ideas without university studies like business management? Mtu mmoja atachukua hiyo kwa panel. Hello and good morning. How's your selection being done, like the audience? You write to us on this WhatsApp and we'll definitely have you join us next time in the audience. How does one go about researching the feasibility of a business? Feasibility of a business. Hi, my name is Laureen and I joined the conversation late. Is it possible for your guests to reintroduce themselves at the end? Lorena amesema basi itabidi tumewajua. vizuri. Asante. Hello, your world. I started an electronic shop last year. It thrived well, but since early April, it's been losses. Getting back to the pocket just to try and sustain it. What can I do to attract more customers? This is Ezekiel from Maralal Way, Samburu. Asante. Hello, NTV. I have this idea of starting an entertainment company because I am an MC. Funny thing, Niati, I'm studying mechanical engineering course, Naniko third year, but the passion of entertainment is on another level. I can already see how I'm loving the show. There we go. Thank you so much for that. We've gotten a few questions. Due to Tanza Nagani feasibility. Kulikuwa na feasibility. There's a Mararal electronic shop. Yeah.
And then there's the passion.
And the passion, yes.
Let me answer the passion.
Yes.
Just go for it. Continue learning engineering.
Yes.
And continue. Like, the problem is we were told to get this, get good at one thing and do it. I think they lied to us. Just continue learning your engineering.
Yes.
And start small. You don't even have to have a business name. You don't have to have a company. Have a business name. And then start telling people, I'm an MC. I can do MCing for you. And then keep doing your MC. Make sure, nowadays with phones, take a video and put it on TikTok. Somebody else will call you and then somebody else will call you. Sometimes we overthink the entire thing. You don't have to start a business. You don't have to quit the engineering course to be an MC. Like the two don't have to be, mutually exclusive. You can really have it all if you ask me. Try all of them. You might discover you really don't like MCing after all. And you quit your engineering and you don't even like it. So just try it out. If it takes off, there are people with engineering degrees who are doing proper entertainment. You don't have to quit. You just need to try and do both. And sometimes you might end up finding that there's a merge somewhere.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, Wahoo is an architect. No, Wahoo or Nameless is an architect.
There you go.
I was thinking. Yes.
And do the electronic shop. I think for such a case, I'm happy that she's saying it's not like she's not getting sales. It is the losses.
Yes.
So then I'll narrow down that to, is she able to, or the entrepreneur, are you able to see where the losses are coming from? Because it might be what we had mentioned here earlier. Is it the cost? Is it the cost effectiveness measures that you have that are not working, such that the way you have priced your products vis-a-vis the costs that are going, is it that you're in a location that is very high in terms of rent? So whatever you are selling when you pay off the rent, at the bottom line there, all your money goes. So we need to now dig deeper the numbers and the processes that you're putting in place to ensure that you sell that one product, so that at the end of the day, it is not a loss. And what I'm saying is the financial aspect, so that you determine where the loss is coming from. So for me, sometimes we also see a lot of entrepreneurs mistake high revenues, like the business is doing well, such that when you are making a lot of sales, you have so much money you're collecting, you think you are doing very well, then you take that money, do so many other things with it. You realize that the business needs that money back.
Yes.
You should be able to know what is it that I can take as a profit. So if that is not determined yet, then that is where you should start. And she might be able to realize that maybe through that kind of analysis, she will be able to, have the business run itself.
So to sikule stock.
Yeah, to sikule stock. Okay, for sure.
Yes, Stan.
Those are very good thoughts. If you listen carefully, there's a very loud voice in every room. That's the voice of kicheng, kicheng, kicheng. Money is just being made everywhere around you. So a very strong thought is the idea that money is neither scarce nor hard to make. It is all over around you. Even if you're living in the slum right now, there's millions around you. And the day they taught me the word currency, they gave us the full key. This is something that is flowing. It's current. So your task then is to build those trenches that divert the currents into your very habitation, into your house. Every effort that helps you build those trenches is an effort on the right direction. Do you know that in the short run, it seems like political power triumphs economics? But in the longer term, economics triumphs political power, because an economics positioning is a going concern positioning.
Yeah.
So if you are to draw a graph of 1940 to now, a graph of a company like Microsoft, you begin to see the sheer economic power. And you consequently see then that even the momentary powerful presidents that would come in and out, they're only powerful in the short run, but in the longer term, economic power is bigger and much better. What's my message? My message is that business has the power to change bloodlines. So anything that, while I'm talking about structure, capacity, capability, research, and so on, a good place to start is just the idea that business has the possibility. Do you know there's no tribalism in business? There is no there is even no ability and disability. There are people who are literally vegetables as far as their body function is concerned, but the economic contribution is unparalleled because the market does not haikubagui because you're a Muslim or you're a Christian or you are tall or you are short and so on. Do you know it's the power of the market that has given men who are not as tall equal opportunity? That the power of economics is able to make somebody who's short stand head and shoulders with a tall person. In fact, he might even outperform you in many areas, not because of any physical ability, but just because of the blessing of the market. And the market is completely impartial. You see what I'm talking about? So the opportunity that business can change your life is a big one, and just begin. Get started. And then as you get started, now begin learning as much as possible. The day you get into business, I promise you, you're better off taking the position of a student and a mentee. Then you will learn faster. The idea that you don't know is one of the biggest ideas that can help you as a business person. At every level, even this organization, MD, has a coach and has a mentor. And there are things he doesn't know and he goes for guidance. So that is where I'd like to encourage our generation. Open up and talk to people. You will be very surprised. I've structured an SME that is valued about $7 million, and they're very highly profit generative, and they were doing, I think, $8,000 a day in profit. When we finished their work, they moved that from 8,000 to 40,000. Because sometimes that you are generating capital does not mean that you're efficient. You see, so it could be that your inefficiency is discounted by the sheer amount of revenue that is coming down. But a very lazy look at your key cost structures will begin to reveal efficiencies that you are leaving. They are now putting together an 800-bed hospital. So you begin to see that there are no mountains anywhere in this world. Every man's ignorance is his mountain.
So you mentioned something earlier about, building legacy and, instead of dividing things, building on it and all of that. And I just posed a question earlier, like at what point, how do you know, mahali mefika, I don't have to show up every day? Like you move from being probably self-employed to being an entrepreneur or something, or like having the business run by itself. What are some of the marks or the pillars that you need to look out for to know that mahali biashara imefika, there is room to create opportunities for other people to jump in or pass on the knowledge?
I think simply to answer that question, let me answer the one for how do I know I don't have to show up every day? So, if you're the business, you're it. Like, for example, let's take you for example. If you don't show up today, you didn't come for this show. You're it. You're the host. You're the business. We will just replace you with somebody else, but you're it. Now, fortunately, NTV has the capability to bring somebody else. But if you make hair and you didn't show up to make my hair today, you've lost me. I needed to show up for the show. I need to go and make my hair. That's it. So how do you know? You need, first of all, to remove the business from yourself, that you have to wake up. That means you're self-employed. It's not a business. You may think it's a business, but you really are self-employed. If your business is, if I don't show up, then I don't get paid. Then you're just self-employed, just maybe a lot more employed than other people. All right? So that's one. So you need to then, how do you create, and I really like what he's saying, how do you create a way that somebody else can work and you get paid? And that's why people open salons. Because then I used to make hair, then I opened a salon and I gave a few other people space. And now, whether I show up or not, my clients are still taken care of and I make money, right? So then there it is that whether you show up or not. But even there, you need to be able to know you know, when Robert Kiyosaki talks about the rat race and getting out of the rat race, what he simply means is you should be able, what you're making needs to be able to cover all your expenses, but not by showing up. And there's something called passive income. And this is where the money you make, you save some of it so that, you know, passive income is when you make money whether you show up or not. You don't. You know, whether it's I put my money in a savings account, I put my money in an MMF, I put my money in somebody else's business, I put whatever it is that you put your money. If you can be able to get the kind, and sometimes real estate is that passive income. I built some houses and now they bring in rent. I don't have to show up every day at that house to say, you know, it's passive income. It brings money at the end of every month. So if your passive income can cover your expenses, then we are starting to talk. It means that you don't have to wake up for your expenses to be taken care of. From there now you can start growing. And if your business has the kind of system that whether you show up or not, it works. And the question is, you might not show up today and then something goes wrong and so you show up tomorrow. You need to build it in such a way that you can go away for 3 months and your business still stands. You need to build it in such a way that you can pass it on to somebody else and go and start something else. Or, like you're saying, you're old and gray. You can be able to say, child, I have raised you. You have an education. Here you are. Take this business and grow. There's a system. So that it's not dependent. And that's, I think the bottom line is, it's not dependent on you. So you have to figure out, how then do I pass on what I know and what it is that I do to somebody else and still make money, so that it's not your business being stolen from you, but it's that somebody else can run it for you. You can still show up. I actually worked with a business where this guy has done business for the last 40 years. Now the next generation has taken over. He still comes by the office. He says to have a cup of tea. Literally. He goes to the club, he plays golf, and then he passes by the office, he has tea, and then he goes home. He's been able to build a system where now it's still making money, it's still providing for his family, but he doesn't have to show up every day.
Before we come to the end of this conversation, because our time is really running out, I'd like to probably indulge you in a thought. Like, probably if there's a business that you've encountered for each and every one of you, probably through the business directly or the founder, and there's something about this business that you absolutely admire, or you know this has made it to this point because of 1, 2, 3, 4 things. What are those businesses, especially locally and internationally, if we can relate, in terms of maybe their structure, maybe it's how they produced a product that we still cannot understand how they put it together. You know, what would that business be like? Or you look up to them in terms of how they have structured their business and all of that. All of you will have a chance to just indulge us.
Can start?
Ladies.
Of course he was going to do that, Charity. He was definitely going to do that.
I was trying to narrow down which one.
Honestly, for me, it's not even product. It's not any of those things.
Yes.
It's just the way that they think.
Oof. Okay, even interesting.
So there's this businessman in Kenya called Anthony Wahome.
Yes.
And he's run a lot of businesses, including he's worked with Safaricom and businesses like that. And his business, at least the business that I knew him for, I don't know whether he still does it, is creating masts for telcos. But it's the way that he thinks. For him, there's nothing in this world that is impossible. And it has nothing to do with actual do's and don'ts, you know, oh, I don't know, profit and loss, I don't know. It's the way that he thinks. His mind believes, and he's a Christian, his mind is in such a way that anything is possible. It's possible. So him, when he puts his hand to something, it will grow. It will, I mean, the man, anyway, go find him.
Anthony,
go find him. Because currently he's been in a podcast that our church does called Fearless Business this last 2 weeks. It's amazing the way he thinks. It's amazing the way his mind. And I absolutely admire him because he's a billionaire by all standards.
Yeah.
And it's not because, oh, I don't know, he went to which school, and it, just like Stan said, he started from down here. And what is his difference?
Brain.
His mind.
Yeah. Okay. We're definitely going to look. Mandika mentors, Andika Mentors. Yes, Dan.
Very interesting. In light of the time, I did have the privilege of structuring one of the most celebrated industries in Kenya, Pick and Peel. And I did get the opportunity to sit with Dr. Rugendo. Dr. Rugendo is about 78. He's not as short as he looks on the newspaper. He's about actually 5'9", 6". He's a tower of a man, not because of his achievements, but because of his sheer work ethic. Dr. Rugendo is in his office. I think he's 78 now. He's in office every day before 6 a.m. Now, I must ventilate this a bit more. We know about the juice, but he does many more other things, including goat yogurt, including flour business. He's doing quite a lot for this nation. And would sit down with him early morning, and we're trying to, so what are we doing today? And every day, like clockwork, when he gets in, he will check the attendance register of all his companies, all. So anybody who's going for leave, he is the one personally signing. He is the one personally signing invoices. One day I saw him signing 30 invoices. On invoice number 27, he says the tax here is wrong. He's computing it with his head. He's computing with his head. He calls, where is this? You know, he's the boss. He doesn't call the accountant. He calls the CFO. What is this? Then he says everything else must be. 6 a.m. is in the office.
Yes.
So I asked one of his leading C-suite executives, where does this culture come from? And he told me something shocking. He said, son, do you know, by the way, the time I came to Pick and Peel, he actually had a one-on-one talk with me and told me, as the leaders of the organization, it is important that we outwork everybody, not just because of outworking, but also it is important that we be seen to outwork everybody else. Because what will these people think of us if they reach here before us? Employees are coming at 8. Dr. Rugendo is in the office at 6 a.m. I've also had the privilege of working with one of the biggest and best fintechs minds in Africa, Dr. Julian Kula. Dr. Julian Kula is celebrated. He was the IBM Innovator of the Year 2012. I have the privilege to work with him. He's currently working on an amazing project that will soon be revealed. But his work ethic again. I see there is no day that it is very difficult to reach the office before him. You will always go and find his white S-Class Mercedes, black S-Class Mercedes parked at B2. And it gets worse. So you know the way we can have a full strategy day. Yes. Strategy day, you are expending yourself. People are exhausted.
Yes.
People go home.
Yes.
This day, there's something, I was trying to prepare something for my wife. So there was a surprise I had in my office. So I'm on my way back home. Then at 8 p.m. I have to drive back to the office. I drive back to the office. Who do I meet at the basement? Julian Kula with 4 in. He's like, hey, sir, I'm going upstairs. I'm meeting some investors from Turkey. I cannot even begin to tell you the kind of sheer discipline and work ethic. Yeah. And you'd expect that the person who's resourced the most, the person who has the boss, is the person, calling shots.
Yes.
I've actually learned one of the biggest advantages as an entrepreneur that you can have is work ethic. Work ethic. Do you know that there's a full day between 5 p.m. and 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. A full day.
Wow.
Full day.
I hope
5 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's a full day. If you work until 3 a.m., you worked 1.5 days now. Okay. So if my 5 years, you use 5 years, me is 15. That's why I tell my clients, I'm awake. The only time I need to sleep is midnight to 3 a.m. Every other time, call me.
I will be awake.
Yeah, call me. I'll pick.
Thank you so much for that. I can see Nogoro Akona
like, sorry, midnight to what now?
To 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think for me, because I've worked with many entrepreneurs,
yes.
and PES, private equity support, where I work, is founded by a woman who is also an entrepreneur. I feel like it should be one of the person that I look at and I'm like, wow, how did she get here in terms of the company for the last 9 years?
Yes.
Having grown a company from working with 2 development partners maybe in year 1 to today we have a profile of DFIs you can talk about. And what I see she's called Diana Gishaga, what I see in her is the energy. She can see opportunities where other people cannot see.
Yeah.
And for me, I think I would give her credit on such an occasion. Yeah,
thank you. I don't know if you have time to just get one comment from the audience. We can, I think he's raising his hand. So you have 30 seconds.
My comment is about the funding model.
on the business. You know, we have
30 seconds.
Yeah, we have 3 funding model. We have the capital, the capital, and we have funding, yes, capital, and we have the other one. I have nimesahau kidogo. So on your side, how do you go by? Ni grant ama ni mnafund tu hivyo? Because of muda.
Ulikuwa unauliza swali hata kwa comment na tunaambiwa tutoke. So maybe yes, you can talk separately on that. Okay. Atakujibu kando kwa kando. But asanteni sana, muda wetu umeyoyoma. Asanteni sana kwa kuja Charity Stand and Rugoro. It was a lovely conversation. We've learned so much. Thank you for tuning in today. That's all we had for you on this Trendy Thursday on Your World. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. From me to you, have a beautiful day. Adios.